So I get to stay at the oldest inhabited castle in, I think, the UK or Scotland. And I'm going to go play with some hawks and owls because that's what they do in Scotland.
The castle is over 700 years old, but the family roots go back to 1060 when a German pirate followed William the Conqueror to England. Within years, they relocated to Scotland, supporting King David I, and made their fortunes by raiding and robbing the locals. The original foundation of the castle was laid during the time of Genghis Khan, Marco Polo, and the Magna Carta. The castle we see today with the ornate turrets and towers was constructed using locally quarried redstone in 1450. Notable guests include King Edward I, who stayed at the castle before defeating Braveheart, also known as William Wallace. Mary, Queen of Scots, stayed at the castle along with Oliver Cromwell and even Queen Victoria. Falconry started in Mesopotamia about 4,000 years ago and is currently known as the sport of kings. Today, there are very few bird trainers in the world, and engaging in falconry is a rare opportunity. The hawk we use today is a social breed with a hierarchical system. The higher the bird sits on the branch, the higher the status. The birds were fun to use, but they definitely had the temperament of a cat, where you might have to bribe them a little bit in order to get them to actually come down and take their snack. The owl that we used was so temperamental that it took us a good minute to actually get him to come over to my hand. The trainer told me that what they try to do is they try to hold out for the big treat at the end, so they get a little stingy in the middle of their demonstration. They were still really cool to use, and apparently, the hawks you cannot really pet, but the owl let me pet him, so that was awesome. When it was time for me to settle down into my room, the first thing that I have to mention, true to Scotland, is stairs. So the directions were to walk up the stairs, and when I think there are no more stairs, to look behind the wall if there's some more stairs. Definitely a lot of towers in this castle. The room was absolutely perfect. I had a great view of the park, and I also had a very nice large bathtub to which I was able to take a hot soak. Before hitting the spa, I decided to have a quick little snack at their cafe, and I enjoyed a cheese and pickled sandwich, which was not something I had expected or experienced, but I decided to be adventurous and try it, and it was actually really good. One of the advantages for staying here was to explore their day spa. They had a side entrance to where you can enter in off of the property, and you could also go from your room without having to leave the castle to get there. So there was two different ways to get to the spa. Once inside the spa, there was a very pretty and calming relaxation lounge where they served some snacks, some tea. There was some milks and some other goodies that I was able to enjoy. And that was like in a dry room. Then they had a dual relaxation lounge with two people where they can just sit and talk and enjoy each other. They had a pool where you could use some jets for some therapeutic applications. There was a steam room. There was also a room where you could do your own scrub. So they would provide a scrub for you. So you went and scrubbed yourself down, and then you're able to take a color based shower, and you could then enjoy the other amenities that they had there. I did get a facial, and I really wish I could have had a massage, but unfortunately, I literally had a surgery days before I went out there, so I was limited to what I could do. So I only was able to take a facial at a time, but it was absolutely great because my skin was feeling very torn up from all the travel and the flights. So I appreciated my time getting the facial. After a few hours inside of the spa, I was definitely ready for some dinner. And dinner was to be held in an actual dungeon. This was a dungeon that was used for a pretty long time. One of the things I found to take me by surprise was how hot the dungeon actually was. The stone is about 4 feet thick down there, so it was very well insulated. And with the kitchen, I'm sure all the gas that were in there, it was definitely very, very toasty. I had the steak, which was really good, don't get me wrong, but I felt bad that I didn't take the time to read the menu because I was just excited to have steak. The meal I wish I had was the beef Wellington. I don't think I've ever had beef Wellington, and I did not pick it because I didn't take the time to read the menu because I was too enamored with everything that was going on, including getting a small gift of a piper that came in for another party, and he had done some music, so I was able to enjoy and participate in some of that. I also had, I think it's called sweetbread. And as I started eating it, I was a little confused because it wasn't sweet and it didn't seem very bready. But I ate it nonetheless, and I later found out what it was. So that was quite a nice little surprise. Dinner was absolutely fantastic. I had an apricot, I guess, souffle afterwards, and I enjoyed looking at all the armor and everything that they had on the wall. I don't know if I would have ever had that experience without going to this castle, so I appreciated that. Who can go to a castle and not spend some time in a library? I know I can't. So that's exactly what I did after dinner. I went and I took a little walk outside, and then I spent the rest of the night reading in their library until I was ready to go to bed.
One of my only regrets is that I did not bring my headlamp, because who needs a headlamp while they're backpacking across Europe? Well, I did last night because I wanted to take a night trail to a burial ground, and I'm on the path right now, and as you can see, it's pretty dense. So there was no light whatsoever. There's the trail right there. Very easy, very flat. But I didn't want to use just my flashlight last night on my phone because, well, that would have probably gone out before I got to the burial ground. So I had to wait till today. So here I am, and here I go.
Trying to find the old Ramsey burial site was a little challenging because I wasn't exactly sure where I was going and I didn't have my GPS system. But once I got on the correct trail, it was pretty flat, pretty easy to find. It was definitely very dense, but not challenging at all. And I could not go into the burial grounds because it was closed due to safety reasons, but I was able to get my camera over and take a little look. After I left the Ramsey and the old church, I continued exploring some of the trails around the castle, and I crossed over this very quaint, very beautiful bridge, and I was able to stumble upon another ruin. Or ruin. I'm not exactly sure what it is or what it was. I didn't find out any information about it, but it was very beautiful, and it was actually very peaceful because it was right along, like nestled into a river system. it kind of reminded me of the story of one of the kings who put one of his mistresses up in, I think it was called Woodstock, almost like a Rapunzel story. And I was able to go into the ruin and kind of explore on the inside. And it was a very pleasant, very calm, very peaceful moment. I don't know if that was the intention because it did seem a little ominous on the inside, and but I made the best out of it, and I hope someone else in the past made the best out of it. Not exactly sure again what it was, but I enjoyed being there.
One of the things that I've really enjoyed about Scotland was being able to stay at Dalhousie, I think that's how you say it, Castle. It was owned by the Ramsay clan, and it's a very authentic experience. It's not a Disney World type of, shenanigans. It's real people. It's a real castle. It's doing a real thing, and it's been a real gift to be able to stay here, even if it was just for one night. But I loved it. It's a beautiful castle. It was a beautiful room, beautiful bath, beautiful spa. I got to fly some birds, which was pretty cool. So yeah, I had a good time.